it forever for Cleveland now too. Now they're the most.
Yeah.
The most
Took the torch.
Hey, this is Phil Ratcliffe with Rebel Financial. Thanks again for tuning in to our live stream broadcast. Today we have Joe Messenger of Capstone Wealth Partners here to help us learn a little bit more about college planning. Joe, actually, I have him to thank for still being in the industry because when I first came in, I got called back to active duty, went and served, and when I got back out, I thought, I think I'm going to go into pharmaceutical sales and medical sales. And then I met Joe, and he convinced me, no, you should still be a financial advisor. There are great opportunities out there. And lo and behold, here we are today, both founders of our own fee-only firms.
Yep.
We found the good side of the industry, and now we're helping people more than not. We worked for AXA, and then you worked for New York Life before founding your own firm. So, Joe, really I want to get into the nuts and bolts of college planning. So, can you explain that to us a little bit? Because I think a lot of people may not even have the right conception of what that is.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, and I'm also glad you're still in the business. I'm sure my clients are as well. We saw the light, and kind of, we're both really serving clients well. So, but in a different capacity, I have a unique specialization in really. Not just saving for college, but saving on the cost of college. Mm-hmm. Most of the folks that we're interacting with are actually parents of high school students.
Okay.
So they're concerned with how do we actually cut the cost, not just saving for, but saving on the cost of college.
Absolutely. So it's not just people that had a baby that are saying, how do I set up a college fund?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think every advisor and every parent, if you have kids, you think, you wish you would have started sooner and you wish you would have saved more.
Yeah.
Every parent thinks that, but the reality is when you get out there and you're actually staring a $25,000 to a $70,000 tuition bill in the face for 4 years, you got what you got. So we need to really think about how do we save on the cost, not just for the cost. And I think you have the graphic up here really going through.
And this is on your website. So
this is right on our website, and we've got a lot of resources because I think there's just maybe some misinformation. I think a lot of times when people read an article about, my son got a full ride or this or that, it's so personalized. Each family's socioeconomics and then the caliber of their student really plays into this as far as how do you find the right school that's willing to discount for you. Find the right school that's going to pay for you to go.
And I would say a lot of parents are either, one, they don't know how to talk to their kids about affordability or costs, and two, I would say more as a society, we're not very open about sharing that financial information. So when they get that FAFSA thing back saying what their family contribution should be, and they try to figure out how to pay for that, they don't want to go out and talk to their peers about, well, how do I pay for this extra $40,000? And so that information probably doesn't get spread around. Right.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a couple points because in this college funding process, there's a couple acronyms we throw around. One is FAFSA. The Free Application for Federal Student Aid. It's a free form to fill out. But the formula basically tells you, based on your socioeconomics, here's the minimum amount we think you'll be able to afford each year for college. And I'll tell you that every parent does not agree with that number when it comes out. Every single parent thinks that's way too high. And it is. Just to put things in perspective, just on income alone, if you're a married parents and you make $150,000, they think just out of your income you should be able to afford $33,000 a year.
Wow. And who has an extra $3,000 a month just unaccounted for? Right?
So so that's just to kind of put that in perspective. It's a big number. And it does get to a couple things. One is how do we facilitate good conversations with young adults? Because they're making one of the largest investments and buying decisions they'll ever make in their life.
Absolutely, and for a lot of them, it's very emotional. They think, I've got to go to Vanderbilt or whatever because of this or that, and they're not thinking about finances or what they're going to earn afterwards.
Dollar a month payment.
So
if you have a student that graduates with a decent degree and they have $30,000, a $300 a month payment, that's pretty reasonable. If they got $100,000 a month on a $40,000, $50,000 salary, that's like half your take-home pay. So, like I said, I think what we get sucked into is they get into the great school and mom and dad just say, we'll figure it out. And hope's not a strategy with this.
So the people that come into you, do you find a lot of success of like getting the student and the parent to connect on that and think about it, or do they just not even want to put their head in the sand?
Well, I think they do, and that's why the sense of urgency really doesn't come to that sophomore, junior year where they're really looking and saying, here's the price. So our idea, and one of the things you'll see on our website and a lot of our verbiage is college pre-approval.
Mm-hmm.
We think, we think that your
you have
college,
a video for it.
Video for it. This is a very specialized service where we walk people through, but it's really just like you get pre-approved for a mortgage. We think you should be pre-approved for college.
Okay.
Based on the degree you're seeking as well, and the maximum student loans, because we're making an investment, and how much is that investment worth?
Absolutely.
You don't need to go to a school that costs $300,000 to become a teacher.
Yeah.
You just don't.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
So you're looking at how do you measure that, and how do you put those things together. So if you can work to figure out what's our budget as a family, the sophomore junior year, before you even go look at colleges.
Yes.
Before you even go shopping, you need to establish
the
a
emotion,
budget.
the attachment to it.
Yeah, because if they step foot on that campus and they go to Vanderbilt, like you said, I mean, if you've ever been to Vanderbilt, that place is intoxicating. I mean, it's like you're going to walk and you're going to be like, I want to go here because it's awesome.
Yeah.
And guess what? Those college admissions folks, they're awesome at their jobs. They've got
people
a kick butt product.
Yeah.
They're saying this is awesome. Come here. It doesn't matter what it costs. It's like walking into a Lamborghini dealership. If I drive a Lamborghini, I'm going to want one. But I can't afford it. So with college, we're doing that. We're putting these kids in the driver's seat, and they need to take the lead, and they want to be part of the conversation, but they don't know how.
Yeah.
So we need to have that conversation, bring them into the money, and even before that, though, one of the things I do, people oftentimes they come in for initial meeting, they say, "Should we bring our student?" Mm-hmm. And I say no, because I guarantee you, 9 out of 10 parents aren't on the same page themselves about because their experience going through college is different.
Yeah, so you don't need them working their things out in front of the student.
Right, because I'm assuming forward because maybe mom went to a school and it was all paid for, and her parents helped her out, and she didn't have any student loans.
Yeah, I see that.
Whereas dad went 7-8 years, worked his butt off, maybe was in the service, and worked his way through, got the degree, but had some student loans. So that paradigm is very different, and what they want to help their students with. And I always say too, if you've got 3 kids, we're not talking about 4 years, we're talking about 12.
Yeah.
So beginning to bucket, make sure we're planning.
So you see, half your job in that respect is like a counselor.
Yeah. Well, as you know, with anything financial, we're getting into things that are, it's very emotional. And this college thing, it's about helping your kids have the best life they can and have opportunities you didn't have. Mm-hmm. And college is a pathway to do that. That a lot of parents, you got to get them on the same page. Because sometimes they'll do whatever it takes, but you can't rob retirement to pay for college either. So nailing this is really important to all your financial goals.
Sure. And so, obviously with the elections passed, we know it's not going to be Bernie, so college is not going to be for free, right?
Right.
So people are going to continue to have their personal commitment to paying for these things.
Right.
How can students minimize student loan debt?
I think the biggest thing is knowing what your family's strengths are. When you go shopping for college, because there's 2 main factors. One is need-based financial aid, and then the other is merit-based aid.
Okay.
So if are we a need-based financial aid family, you don't want to rule schools out based on the sticker price. Okay. Because the sticker price with college is completely irrelevant.
Yes.
The average private institution costs around $50,000. Mm-hmm. That's a sticker price. But on average, they discount that by 45%.
So it just depends on how much of a discount you get.
It depends on the discount you get, and so, some schools look at that very differently. So knowing how to shop and what the financial aid policy of the school is and what your strengths are, because if you're a need-based family, if you look at all the Ivy Leagues and some of the most elite private schools, Notre Dame, Northwestern, USC, those types of institutions, they only award aid based on need. Yeah. They do not have scholarships for merit.
So it's either you got to be hard up or wealthy enough to pay the full price
at those schools. Yeah, that's what they're finding. They got really wealthy kids and kids that can't afford it. So at those institutions, what they've said is we don't want money to be a barrier for a really bright student just because they don't have the resources.
Sure.
But if you are a family that the school says you can afford $70,000 a year, you may not have that. Yeah. Right. So you need to find schools that if you've got a talented student, our strength is we've got a really good student with good scores. So we want to find schools that reward that. Mm-hmm. So that's where that shopping process. Every family is a little different. So the story you read in the paper, it may not be for you.
Sure.
So be very cautious. Don't take those things as gospel. They really are.
So you got to figure out
personalized.
I guess if somebody kind of knows what they want to do with their life, you got to figure out who's got a good program for what you want to do, plus the financial things, and that helps you slim it down to a narrower list.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Yeah, and I think what's the value of the degree and the major from that institution.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to school, I changed majors and I didn't have clarity on what I wanted to do.
I think that would be most students. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that is because of the cost and because of the investment, doing more due diligence on the front end to really kind of figure out, at least within a school. So is it the business school or the engineering school, or at least get into the right discipline?
Yeah.
Because then we can begin to say, here's the salary you could project, because that directly relates to how much student loan you should take out for that degree.
No, it makes sense to me. I convincing other people.
Yeah.
That's why we had you in. I mean, like mainly when I deal with people college-wise, it's when they are younger and we're setting up savings accounts and what so. And so I think what you're doing is an awesome niche, and like we're different advisors. We even need to work together to get our clients to the people that specialize in the type of advice, and someone that is really good at counseling somebody, plus having the specialized knowledge to get them to where they need to be faster, is critical. So that kind of leads me into my next question is,
well, one thing on loans real quick.
Yeah,
you mentioned
go ahead.
how do you keep them down?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And one of the things that we always tell families is, as you're looking at the cost of the school, you should never take out more in student loans than you think you're going to make that first year.
Okay.
Out in that major. Because you and I could go to the same university.
Like
if we're roommates.
Yeah.
Rule of thumb, never take out more than you're going to make that first year out. Because your ability to repay loans is different.
Yeah.
Because if we go and we're roommates all through college, we say that we pay the exact same amount, room, board, tuition, all in costs. You come out as an engineer making $65,000.
Yeah.
I come out as a teacher making $40,000.
Yeah.
Our paycheck looks very different.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right? Your lifetime earnings is probably 100% more than mine.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying don't be an educator or don't go into social sciences. I am saying that the investment and knowing how those student loans are impacted is really important.
Absolutely.
So keep them down that way.
And so, and some, I would think a lot of people would look at that almost like intellectually and say, well, that's not fair that I couldn't go to as good of a school because of the profession that I choose. But I think it's all about quality of life. If your quality of life is you'd be way happier as a teacher, then maybe sacrificing a little bit for 4 years of going to school so that the rest of your life isn't going to be financially stressful might give you a much better quality of life. So you're not sacrificing quality of life.
Right.
If you would look at the long term.
Right.
Of things.
Yeah. And there was a study I just read. It just came out yesterday, but it said that students that have student loan debt coming out, over 65% of them, if they had a chance to talk to themselves when they're 18, they wish they had approached it differently and had more information. And known if I take out these loans, what's my payment on the back end? What are my options? Because again, it's like, can we look into the future?
Yeah.
They literally sign a piece of paper and then they go to class, and the loans come. There's so much free flowing money. It's insane.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to get student loans.
Okay. So the question that kind of leads me into when we were talking about different types of financial advisors or so there's obviously a lot of people out here in the community that call themselves financial advisors. And not everybody is a one size fits all. And I think you're kind of unique, and I think you're telling me that you're getting ready to start a business to help other financial advisors learn how to do this better as well. But for most of us financial advisors, not a lot of financial incentive to do what you do unless it gets more mainstream and people are willing to pay a fee or what's so. But that gets me into the question, how do parents, because it seems to me like this is so valuable, like what you're talking about, how much money it's going to save them, and hopefully everybody be happier and live better lives. How do parents and students find a good financial advisor that's going to do this rather than just try to get them to roll over stuff and not pay attention to the actual college planning?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know anybody else in the community that's a fee-only planner that does what we do.
Yeah, I don't either. That's
and a lot of advisors call me for advice, and I'm more than happy if there's advisors watching that just want some advice. And we are going to be rolling out some resources and tools.
Awesome.
But it really, for me, goes back to the same things you and I both preach is, work with a fee-only fiduciary.
Yeah.
We've done some research, and we've determined that about 95% of the so-called college planning experts, financial experts, are actually part of insurance marketing organizations.
They want you to buy whole life.
It's no matter what your situation, there's always the Swiss Army knife financial planning, and that's called life insurance or an annuity.
Yeah.
And we always say we get paid a fee to tell people the truth.
Yes.
We're not yes men. We're going to tell you the truth and give
if it was a life insurance policy, you would recommend
it. But we've worked with hundreds of families, and I'd say maybe 2 or 3 of them over the last 5 years.
So it does, but it's just a small percentage. For most families, it's their income that really drives up their expected contributions. So putting your money, and the other thing about assets, is they tout this, but the highest your assets are ever going to get penalized is 5.6%.
And if you look at the cost of an insurance policy, it's probably more than 5.6%.
Absolutely.
I make that simple kind of thing. It's like, okay, well, yeah, I can put it in here and it's not assessed, but that cost me more than what the government would have penalized me.
Especially when you're locked in for multiple years.
And then it's not accessible, and they don't tell you that story, by the way.
Sure.
They don't tell you that part. So again, it goes back to finding somebody that's feeling fiduciary. There are good college planning. We really focus on the funding. There's private counselors. Some of my friends at the core is great with the career side and more the soft side.
Yeah.
And helping with some of the school selection. College-wise is another good group.
Okay. It seems to me that's going to be, once you get to this point, that's going to be the most bang for your buck.
Yeah.
And not how much more can I save or game the rules. It's what can I get my kid to be happy with that's going to give them the best start in life.
Right.
That's affordable.
Right.
For what they're doing.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it seems to me that is probably one of the ones that's avoided.
Yeah.
The most.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I don't look at it as a return on investment. We really need to begin to look at this. We're talking about $100,000 to $300,000. So
yeah.
I don't think any advisor that was sat down with somebody and said, "Hey, I've got $200,000 to invest," we wouldn't want to advise them on how to do that appropriately.
Absolutely. So Joe, kind of wrapping up, I think we've given people a good snapshot. Let people know how they can reach out to you or find you if they want to find some more information or give you a call or
Sure.
So.
Yeah, I mean, we're the best spot, CapstoneWealthPartners.com. We've got a whole series of videos up there that really is just meant to walk you through how we work with families, how we'd recommend it. Then we're on social media. You can search Capstone Wealth Partners and stay tuned for college pre-approval. We're going to have a lot more resources for advisors and for families and for counselors as well.
Awesome. Well, I personally use Joe, and he's helped me out in a couple of situations. So definitely reach out to him. He's a great resource. Like we said, he's pretty unique in the community. Hopefully he helps some other advisors do some better college planning out there. We will put a couple of the links that he mentioned below the comments on Facebook and YouTube so that you can find those easier. Again, thanks so much for tuning in. Next week we'll be off the air for Thanksgiving, so happy Turkey Day to everybody. And then the week after that, we're actually going to have Tim Grell in from the Ohio Trust Authority talking about 529 and what so that should be fun and exciting. So join us there. Of course, if you need anything, comment below, let us know. And we're thinking about starting a new, almost like contest for the more we share and get the word out there and comment, then each week we're going to be giving away an Amazon tap. So in that respect, pass it on to your friends. That's going to get you entered in the contest, and we will probably start doing that next week. So again, thanks so much for joining us. Have a great weekend. Happy Thanksgiving.